Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family, welcome back to another episode of the What's Not Sports podcast. This is another episode of the Pulse Check. We're here, episode 77 of the podcast. Look, we're going to talk Origin changes. The milk is back and the NRLW has arrived. This is exciting. It might be a major buy round for the rugby league, NRL, I should say. But this week, with the last state of Origin around the corner, it's a major buy round. We all know there's only 5 games instead of our usual 8. It's very disappointing. But to combat that, we are very lucky to actually gain some more rugby league. And that's being able to view the return of the NRLW. It's returning this round. I'm excited. It's just an excuse to watch more footy. So I don't know about all of you, but I am a fan of the NRLW. To me, it just means there's more rugby league to watch. And I love to watch rugby league. So it does actually excite me quite a bit. Let's talk about our round 16 tips before we get into, round 17 tips. A little bit iffy. Not too bad. Better than 50%. We'll have a little look at what happened last round and we'll have a look at what happened or what's going to happen this round. And then we'll talk a bit of NRLW and we'll talk a bit of Origin and we'll wrap up the podcast there. So I'm reckon this might be a quick 20-minute snippet and let's get down to business. Taking care of business. Okay. Let's kick it off. Round 17 tips. We had the Eels played the Bunnies, the Titans played the Dogs, the Broncos and the Roosters, Dolphins and Warriors, Cowboys and Penrith, Manly and the Storm, the Milk versus the Dragons, and to round out the week, we had the Knights versus Tigers. In that, we had the Bunnies tip, the Titans, the Roosters, the Dolphins, Penrith, Storm, the Raiders, and the Knights. Let's discuss it. Parramatta versus the Bunnies. Not too much to comment on this. Just Bunnies a class above, to be honest. I didn't talk too much. Well, didn't watch too much of this game, but it's because I wanted to go to bed because at halftime it was pretty much game under wraps. Friday afternoon, Friday night. Titans versus Dogs. I was at work for that game. Caught a bit of a snippet of it of the second half when I got home. There were glimpses of the Titans coming back. Very, very disappointed in the kicking game of Jaden Campbell. I won't say disappointed by Jaden Campbell because he did play some good footy, absolutely. But the kicking game, it definitely needs to be better, especially, as an A-grade side kicker. I know they were from the sideline. And I know not every... I just don't think as a kicker in the NRL, you're a goal kicker, you need to make those conversions and you don't miss 3 of them. I know Philip Sami on the wing, absolute blinder, 3 tries. Incredible job from him. I just think it would have been a very different game. Jaden Campbell converts those. Obviously, if you just add 6 points and go 18-24, looks a lot better than 24-12. But I think it gives the team an extra morale boost. In that game, we saw the shift of Critter into 5'8" and Burton to the centres. Worked a treat for him. Worked a charm. And we see it again. We'll see it again. That's it. It's a good combo that works with Galvin. Very interesting on that, and I'm surprised it actually worked, to be honest. Broncos Roosters, I did actually stay up and watch this whole game. It was a very, very interesting game. It was pretty close for the majority of the game. 18-24 to the Roosters, just getting over the Broncos by 6 points by try. A few casualties. Lindsay Collins down with a HIA. We'll talk about that in a second. No Origin for him, but we'll touch on that in a minute. Controversial try for Sam Walker in his 100th game. forward pass probably was, but we've seen a lot of missed calls by refs, and obviously forward passes can't be rectified by the bunker. But it was a good game considering that the Broncos have a lot of injuries. I think in the next couple of weeks we see Billy Walters return. And like Ben Hunt in the halves with Billy Walters, we know it works. It worked very, very well last year. But Tom Duffy, Ben Hunt, they were pretty decent. I thought Ben Hunt had a great game. And yeah. Dolphins versus Waz. Thank goodness I told you guys the Finns are going to get the win. They got the win over the Waz. Tough, gritty win. Not too much in it at all. 2 points. It was gritty. And I'm glad they won because Finns up, baby. Finns up. Cowboys Panthers, I only caught, I think, probably the middle 40 of this game. So the last 20 minutes of both halves. And man, am I impressed by the Cowboys. Nanai scoring a double. Jason Tamalolo's 300th game. Oh my gosh. Wins it. I think it's his first ever milestone game won. Incredible. Most capped Cowboys player. Bang. It was just fantastic. A full strength Penrith side. Cleary getting frustrated. Doing plays that probably should have sent him to the bin. Protected species. I think he could possibly be a protected species. He could be a koala. But we'll touch on that a bit more. Manly versus Storm. I had the Storm tipped. Manly. Battle of Brookie. Owned Brookie. Like, the Storm didn't show up. And I wish they played like that last week against the Raiders, because the Raiders have been 2 in a row now. But doesn't matter. Manly just continue to impress me. And yes, I know I said Jamal's not a nice man, but he doesn't need to be a nice man when you win by, 20 points? It's pretty good. Raiders versus Dragons. There were a lot of wrong calls both sides by the ref. For both sides, like the Tamale call when was clearly out. His foot was clearly out and it was out on the full. And it was magically a Dragons ball. Interesting there. Interesting. But we won't talk about Simi Sasangi's forward pass, but we will talk about how good Simi Sasangi is. Most tackle breaks, I think, or second most runs, second most run meters under Xavier Savage, who had 2 breakaways from basically ran the length of the field twice for tries from intercepts. That's insane. And that's where all his meters came from. Simi Sasangi, just hard work. Post-contact meters were huge for him. And he is the missing piece for the Raiders. The Raiders get the bye this week. Well, one of the teams that get the bye. And it could be huge from coming back with Simi Sasangi, the likes of Papali, the likes of Noah Martin, the likes of Matty Nicholson. They're going to make a deadly threat for a run home. So, yeah, off the milk. Got the win. Knights vs Tigers. Didn't really watch this game. Knights just outclassed them. The Knights are a strong team. They will be in the top 8, and I don't think we've seen them in the top 8. Well, look this good for a long time, so it's very interesting. And let's see what else they can do this season. So, 5 out of 8 tips, not too bad. And if you're wondering what I got right, because I've rambled on a little bit, it was the Bunnies, the Roosters, the Dolphins, the Raiders, and the Knights. Those were my 5 good tips. Now, let's just recap some of the round, which I have already touched on. Jason Tamalolo, incredible 300th game. We already knew that. Destroyed Penrith. The Cowboys showed up for him, and it was awesome. They showed us what they can do, especially still with Tom Dearden now. It definitely shows us that Penrith aren't invincible, and they are not as strong as what we thought. And we can see Nathan Cleary make a lot of errors and dumb plays and stupid decisions when he's frustrated, and I think a lot of teams are going to try and exploit that now. Some big injuries. Luke Brooks, suspected ACL. Very unfortunate for him. How this goes for Manly, I'm not sure. Walsh obviously comes in and plays 5'8". I'd like to see him be a bit more of a running 5'8", and I think we'll see that. And we know how well Jamal works with running 5'8s. For example, Ethan Strange last year. So I think I'll feel at home, and I think that team still will dominate under Fosball. Izzy Katoa's done his wrist, out for a few weeks, fracture, and then DWZ, hamstring. That's a blow for the Wars, another injury blow for the Wars, unfortunately. Right, let's jump into round 18. We've got the major bye round, only 5 games. Let's see if I can get my tips right. Penrith Bunnies, Doggies versus Titans. Panthers Bunnies, Dragons versus Tigers, Broncos versus Sharks, Para versus Manly, and the Knights versus Dolphins. In that, I'm feeling confident, especially with Penrith having a few players out due to Origin. Not just that, I know the Bunnies will also have a few guys out. Jack Whiten comes back into the side, could be huge for him. Penrith are frustrated, and I would love to see him lose again. So, I'm tipping Bunnies to win that. Dragons versus Tigers. The Tigers will get the win there. Should easily bulldoze the Dragons. Broncos versus Sharks. I'm actually seeing that the Broncos win this game. I don't want to tip the Sharks, so I won't. I'll pick the Broncos to get the win there, and Ben Hunter just ruled the field like the absolute trooper he is. Para versus Manly. I'm tipping Manly. Fosball all the way. And Knights versus Dolphins. Fins up. Fins up, baby. I know there's like 4 players out because of Origin. Maybe less now. With Finifuyaku out. But fins up. They get the win either way. Now, let's jump into the first round of the NRLW starting this Thursday. Beautiful. Love to see it. We've got the Sharks versus Knights, the Titans versus Roosters, Dragons versus Raiders, Broncos versus Cowboys. I still think they should be called the Cowgirls. Parramatta versus the Tigers, and the Warriors versus the Bulldogs. In that, I reckon the Knights beat the Sharks. The Titans to beat the Roosters. That's going to be a good clash. We know how good the Roosters are. They lost to the Broncos in the Premiership last year. Such a strong team. But I just got a feeling that the Titans can win. And I haven't shared this publicly, guys, but I did meet Jamie Chapman on the weekend in Noosa. Awesome girl. Got a photo. Might post it up on the Instagram along with all the other NRL stars that we get on there. So I met NRLW royalty. Absolutely awesome. And because of that, I reckon the Titans win. They signed Indy Bostock this season. Could be huge for them. Dragons versus Raiders. Up the milk. Let's go, girls. Let's get the win. Broncos versus Cowboys. The NRLW Q clash. I like to see it. Well, a Q clash type thing. Broncos to win that one. They're the premiers. I don't think they lose to the Cowgirls. Parramatta, I'm tipping to win over the Tigers, and I'm tipping the Warriors to beat the Bulldogs. And that's my round 1 NRLW tips. Now, let's talk Origin and talk team changes, and then we'll wrap up the pod. So, New South Wales, Laurie, he's put a few changes. I think it's about 6 changes he's done to the side. And as of today, I hear that Lockie Galvin has been brought into the New South Wales camp. Honestly, if you want something to work, just drop Mitch Moses and Nathan Cleary and put Galvin and Strange in. It might be a blessing, Laurie, but don't listen to the Queenslander who knows how to win 8 in a row. Laurie, we see him drop Appy Coruscant. Appy, after getting 0 minutes on field, gets dropped for doing nothing right because he didn't play. Toto, he's out. Too short. Laurie doesn't want that. Possibly one of the greatest Origin wingers in history. Nah, we want a new guy in for the decider. Put him under pressure. Put him against a firing Jojo Fafita. So yeah, we're going to drop Toto. Stags, valid, kind of dropping him. He's kind of been trashed, to be honest. Hate to say it. I think Stags is a good centre, but he just hasn't shown up for Clubland or for Repland. Dylan Lucas, he's out. Might be a very short-lived Origin career, similar to, well, I won't say similar to Suoli. Suoli had like 8 minutes before his Origin career was over. Dylan Lucas, at least he played a game. But that's it. He's gone. You've done nothing. wrong. It's just that we shouldn't have brought you in anyway, is what Laurie Daly said to him. Laurie, he brings in Jack Bostock to the wing, so a bit of height under the ball to compete against a towering Jojo Fafita, a leaping Jojo Fafita. I reckon we see him score a double. Bradman Best, we see him in the centres. I'm kind of scared of this guy. This guy is an Origin player, and that's why I hate him, because he's an Origin player for New South Wales. And he's not afraid to say that he hates Queensland, and I respect it. And I respect Origin players, even if they wear the Blues jersey. Doesn't mean I like them, but I respect them. But he's going to get pummeled by Robert Toya. Or the Hammer, depending on what side he plays on. Critter, he comes back into the side. I don't know if that's the play. Critter hasn't been the great for rep. Also has that looming shoulder injury. Do we see that? The boys target that? I hope so. Interesting pick, if I'm going to be honest. Liam Martin comes back to the side, starting in that second row. And Blake Brayley coming onto the bench. Hamole returns. He's no longer 20th man. He's on the bench. Kohler dropped to 20th man. I think that's a bit of a stitch up. But what do I know? Mosen and Cleary, halves pairing. Cam Murray stays on the bench. Ethan Strange, 18th man. I want to win Origin. That's not how you do it, Laurie. Right, that's enough New South Wales chatter. None of this losing talk anymore. Let's jump on to Queensland. Queenslander. That's what I am. A Queenslander. Pat Carrigan back from injury. We know how good he is at an Origin level, and we need a leader. And, well, another leader on the field, I should say. And I like it. I like him coming back. Like Billy. In Billy, we trust. He hasn't announced the team list, only a squad. And I actually think that depends on how Pat Carrigan pulls up with injury. Bit of mind games. Billy Slater mind games. I love it. In Billy, we trust. Nanai comes back into the side after a dominant win over Penrith. Absolutely deserved that. And the 2 tries he got. Billy, we dropped Finny Fuiaki, but he hasn't done anything wrong. It's just the fact that you got a guy that plays second row and he scores a double against a full-strength side Penrith team. How do you not pick him? And Billy's going, I'm sorry, Finny Fuiaki, you've done nothing wrong, but Jeremy Nanai, he's done everything right. And he's done more. So that's why he gets a start. And I'm sorry, but it is what it is. What else? Lindsay Collins, he's out after failing his HIA and 11-day protocol, which means he would only be able to play the day of due to the 11-day protocol. So that's completely understandable. And Big Red comes back into the side. I won't be surprised to see if he has, if he's 20th man. He replaces Lukey, which is fine. He was 20th man, hasn't done anything wrong. Just, I guess, Big Red's just playing good rep footy, good club footy, and Billy's seen that, and I like that. It'll be interesting to see what the lineup is on the day, depending on Pat Carrigan, who's 20th man. I honestly do hope Big Red gets a run. I'd love that. My man in green being Maroon. But yeah, that's all the Origin changes for this year. Well, for Game 3, we are very close to the end of Origin of the year. It's my favourite time of the year in rugby league, and it does sadden me. But don't cry because it's gone. Cry because it happened. But that is the episode of Pulse Check. I hope you guys enjoyed my tips, my little bit of rambling. Go Queensland. Next week, obviously, will be another Origin preview. And it'll be good. It'll be a good one. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode.